Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Mila Baraika, and we're going to be looking at the Hebrew alphabet, how it's used within the scriptures. We're going to look at some of the ways it's been derived from the original Proto-Semitic, original Egyptian hieroglyphics, but also we're going to try to focus in on the very basic roots of the alphabet, and 22 letters, and some of them show up just with a letter or two and an exclamation, imperative, or just simply a particle or something. And so it's good to start with the very basic, simple parts, fragments of the language, any language, and we're starting with that today. So let's take a quick look at this, and we'll get on to the alphabet. First letter, of course, is Aleph, and this one did come into the Greek through Alpha, and it's our A today. Sometimes in Hebrew it did survive as an A, Av and Avraham, but often carried different vocalic measures. It started out as a glottal stop, but over time, and the way we use it now, it's going to be a vowel, okay? And we'll get the vowel values off of what the Masoretes have indicated here, be it Segol, Hateb Segol, Serik, Pata, whatever it is here that appears beneath the Aleph will tell us how we're going to pronounce it. And instead of thinking of it as a vocalic or a glottal stop, think of it as a super verb. This thing's got lots of power. I was reading Dead Sea Scrolls, and you have key, and you have certain places where you could see over time the Masoretes or whoever was transmitting the text tended to drop the Aleph out of some of the readings. So, but it's a very powerful letter, and we see its power in how it's used here. Aleph, this is the ox, power. In fact, the original hieroglyphic was head of an ox with his horns, and these then were the horns right here. You can see the horns right on the face of this ox. Also words of power like Elohim, okay, God, El Elyon, the God that's the highest, El Elyon, the highest God, most high God. El right here, Aleph. Eloach, this is an older form that's used in the book of Job a whole lot. In translations, translators will just put in Elohim and Eloach as God. We won't see the difference, but if you're looking at the Hebrew, you do see some differences in variants in how you will say God, Elohim or Eloach. To me, this is a very interesting one because we're going to be looking at Arabic, Allah, probably derives much more from this one, Olawach, okay, Olawach. Again, power. Av, of course, is the important father of the family, Av, father. And as we see here, this is E, and this one, in all of these transliterations, we're going to see E up here, and then here we have Av. We can see other vowels sometimes, even an O tied to the Aleph. And this is Av, father, Avram, father, highest father, or Avraham, father of many people. And so Av, of course, is also a symbol of power and importance for Aleph. When you see an Aleph, think of something that's strong and has importance. Bet, that's Bayit, Bet, the house. The original form of the hieroglyphics was the shape of a house. And the absolute form of this verb here is Bayit, house. But it appears a whole lot more as the construct form. Construct is where you tie it to something else, and then you're defining the next word on the basis of the first word. So this word, you have Beit, the house of God, okay? So which is house? The house of God, okay? So this one defines then this one. So there's a construct connection here between these two elements. So you got Beit, El, and then here you see that the vowel pointing of the vowel sound goes down from Bait to Bait. You have a Serik and a Serik. This, by the way, learn it this way, because this one, you don't see it a whole lot, but this one you certainly see all over the place, and a lot of times in connected words like Betel, Bet Lechem, Bet Shemesh, Bet Aven, many words have this connection here, Bait. And I have here the Bait with Dagesh. That's going to be a plosive, or one with punch to it, a B with a punch. And you want one that doesn't, that's then a V, so this is Av, so this is father. Often at the start of a word where you have Bet, it'll be one with a strong B. And where you're ending a word like av or a hav or something like that, it'll end with a softer V at the end, which we will translate, or we would transliterate with a V. Gimel, gemol, to deal bountifully. When you see this letter, you have to think of the foot of the camel. When you look at it like this. And so gemol, to treat bountifully, to treat kindly, to treat well, even to take off nursing and so forth. So it's gemol. It's a well-known root, and this is the root form of gemol. And we see it a lot with gimel lamed. Here we have Gilgal, the round camp, Galil, the round lake, Golgoth, the round skull, Abigail, my father's dancing in circles, and so forth. So when you see the gimel, it's going to be tied in. Incidentally, this one does not participate in the morphology of Hebrew words. So we're going to see letters that are, when you see them, you have a root. But there are many, many other letters that when you see them, they're doing something else in what's happening within the letter. So we have to start dividing things. I'm going to do another video on how these are divided up. Ones that are very much the root of a root, and the other ones that do a lot of extra work. So we're going to see the verbs that are just standing there, or the letters that stand there. We have the letters that are doing a whole lot of work. So this is one that just simply stands there. It's just, you're going to see it. When you see it, you have a root. Gan Eden, that's the Garden of Eden. Gan means to surround with something, surround with a wall, protect. And so you see Gimel Nun, it often means something that's being well protected. Dalet is Dal. It starts out with poor, thin. Original hieroglyphic was the flap of a tent. And this one does have a dagesh as well, which has a plosive. There's not much difference in the reality of how you pronounce these two. They're both pronounced D, as we hear, Dal. So this is the short, Dal, poor and thin. Dalet is a thin door, the one that closes and opens into the house. Large doors in cities have another name, but this one's a smaller name here, Dalet. Derech is the road, the way. They got derech also in terms of ethics and morals, is how we live our life. Derech. And then we're looking here at segolates. In other words, when you see a pair of segols, the accenting is going to go up to the top. Okay, so Delet and Derech. And now a series of names: Dibon, Deborah, David. Okay, so Dibon is one of the cities in Transjordan. Deborah was one of the judges, the female judge. Deborah means the bee, and you can get the r, the r sound of the B sound here. Deborah. David, the one who loves, and David is that's what his. If you're going to convert this to a verb, it's going to be the one who loves, David. And hey, this is originally the original paleographic or hieroglyphic root of this one was a man standing there with his hands out, and there it is, Hine, behold. Okay, Hine. Double nun here in the middle. This is dagesh forte, doubles up the middle letter here. So hine, hineni shelacheni. Okay, hineni shelacheni. Here I am. Hineni shelacheni, send me. Okay, shalach is to send. Ni, sent me. Okay, send me out. This is Isaiah's words to God when God calls him into the ministry. And so, wow. But then the Lord immediately says, "You're gonna have a tough time of it." So. But whenever you see this hineni, something important is going to happen. Wow, here I am. I'm going to do something right now. We have habait. Okay, this is the house. We've seen bayit already as in the bet. This is an article in front of it. So we have an article use here. There's a morphological use then of the hey here as an article, definite article. Pata and dagesh forte in the following syllable. And that's a normal use of how an article is made. So this is a definite noun here, the house. Adam, this is also the man, Adam, the man, also a definite article. This time there's no dagesh because it's very hard to fit a dagesh into the aleph here. Ha-Elohim, the gods. And when you see, usually It can also be the true God, but many times when you put an article like this, it's other gods, Elohim, Elohim, especially when you hear the word Acharim, so Elohim. And this is again an article on the front here of this particular noun, plural noun here, Hecharim. Whenever it's in front of mountains, you have a hey in front of a hey, the vowel will kick up to a, or will actually slender down to a segol. So heharim. This is very normal for this particular construction. You'll see it quite often. When you first see it, it kind of throws you off a little bit, but after time you'll get used to seeing that. The vav is a small half letter here, and I've got a box here indicating the size of the letter here, and it's originally based on vave. Okay, vav, and that's the hooks, and it's almost exclusively used in the construction of the tabernacle. It's the hooks that hang all the curtains together. So that's where this is used, vave or vavim, and that's then the hooks. This one's used a whole lot as a vowel. More than half the time that you see this particular letter is coming up as a vowel. Now here we are using them as consonants, because when they do start out like this, other than when it's a surik, but anyway, when you have va, 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 then that will be a consonant. Okay? Vashti, this is Vashti, the famous queen, the one that King Ahasuerus got rid of, Vashti. And Vayomer, very, very common word found in the Hebrew language, thousands of times, I would say. The little phrase, Vayomer Elohim, and God said. Very, very common phrase in the scriptures. Vayichen, and then it was so, and this was also part of, it would close out each creation day. And then it was so, it was done such a way. Vayichen, okay? No dagesh in the kaf, so keep it soft, okay? Vayichen, okay? Yehovah, okay? And this is and Jehovah. So these are all vavs. This one is a name. That one's also a name, a root. Over here, you're getting into conjunctions. So you got, and he says, and it was so, and Jehovah. So va, va, va. And that's, this one's, the letter is literally used thousands of times as a conjunction, either with a patah or shabah or as a surik. So you're going to see a lot of this one in the Hebrew language. Especially in narrative, everything's connected together with the vav. Zan, that's food, okay? A very base root here, zan, power, also has the sense of power, energy, seed, and so forth. Zona is the prostitute. This is when you're reading the story of Rahab, all of a sudden you see, oh, Zonan, she's a prostitute. Take a quick look or take a connection here with Zan as food and Zona. Zona was, first of all, the translation is prostitute or, somebody running an inn that offered many different kinds of services. But first of all, it also offered food. Okay, so Zan, Zona. Okay, Zona. Very surprising that one of the women in the genealogy of Jesus was a Zona. Zera, a seed, okay? Again, you see the Zayin going right through. The power of energy of life, Zera. Zerach, this is the light rises. These are separate, I like to group Hebrew words in families. And I like putting this one together. Zera is a seed, and a seed that puts out a plant with rays through the plants, through the leaves. And this is Zera, the rays of the sun. Okay, so you have that same kind of patterning of rays going out. You have the rays in the leaf, and you have the rays in the rays of the sun, the rising sun. Chet, one of the key words that chet is used for is hai, to be alive, hai. In fact, even in modern Hebrew, hai, okay, it's alive for haim. So it's even serves as a greeting in modern Hebrew. So hai. Haya, life, also he is alive. The two things working here. Hai, and haya. Hatzar, this is a patio of the temple, mainly temple courts or the courts of the palace. So it's a hatzar. And this is one of the roots of, when you look at the paleographic form of this letter, it's sort of a diagram of a patio. So that's how you have Hatsa. This is how you should also helps to remember where this thing came from. Chen, kindness, beauty, and very key word used often in parallel with chesed. So chesed and hen often together, and kindness, beauty, and hana. The ones that I don't have another translation for, these are names. Okay, Hannah, the one who's kind, the one who has beauty. Okay, and that was Elkanah's second wife. Penina, the person in your face. Hannah, the one who was kind. This was then Samuel's mother. Tov, it is good. Tet, and this is a T. There are two T's. Actually, there are two T's and a half. To Tsa, the Tzadik starts out as a T and sort of ends up as an S. So this one's a Tet. Okay, so this is a Tov. This is the one that has no morphological function. When you see it, it's a root. Okay, that's it's going to be part of a root. The other one, the Tau, that one does modify things. So that's the difference than what we see in those two. This is then derived from the word mark. Okay, so it's Tov. Nata is to spread out, and Hate is to incline over towards. And this particular root, when you learn it as the root here, Nata, this is the three letter root, the triliteral root of that you find in the dictionary. When you look it up in the dictionary, this is what you get. Nun, tet, he. But it can be used here as vav, yod, tet. There's no nun, there's no he, but you do have the middle root letters still there, tet. Okay. In agglutination of the original language, this is how they did things. They took the original first letter and simply added on to it, front and back. Sometimes it was what we find in our dictionary, nun, tet, he. Sometimes it was just he, tet, he. At least here you still had the second letter. It was the same as the original indicated root. But there are many, many times that you just went right straight down to one. And for somebody who's learned it this way, this means you're going to have to go through two things. You're going to have to go through a pheresis to drop the nun. You're going to have to go through apocope to drop the he. When you've done both those things, you finally got the root, and then you can add other things to it. And but I much prefer you just learn the tet and learn it when you see other things added on to it. So the ancients, they did not use a pheresis or apocope. They just simply based their words on the root, and the root is the tau, the tet right here. Yet, and then he pitched, he set his tent. So this was Abraham setting his tent near Bethel. Yet, mate. This is a staff, and the staff is something that's pointed out, puts a mark on something to point it out. And when Moses was doing his miracles at the Nile, he was using his mate. The Lord was using his mate. Yad is a hand. The original shape of it was a hand, and the original paleographic letter came in from the Proto-Sinaitic and the hieroglyphics. Yad, the hand. Yadu also uses a verb to throw things with the hand. Okay, yadu. Yada, to know. Okay, you can see yada, yada, to know something. Yehuda, the ones who are applauding with their hands. Yodeh, okay, this is often, this one will go, you lose the first yod in here, hodu odonai. That is to make something, you're praising, you're applauding something, okay? So the dalet is still there, but the yod, of course, will absorb. Here the yod's still there, yodea, that's why I still have it. Yesh is there is, it's the particle of existence, there exists, there is. Yesh, yesh. Also used as a possessive, yeshli, I have, and there is to me, and yesh, the yod. Kaf. Kaf is the palm of the hand, okay? You got right up here, palm of the hand like so. And that's where you can hold things, you can hit things, you can lift things, you can do things with the palm of your hand. Sometimes striking, sometimes helping. The virtuous woman of Proverbs 31 uses her kaf a whole lot to hold things up and protect things. Kaf, the palm of the hand or the foot, kaf yad or kaf regel, and so this is kaf. Yak is to slap it, take your hand and whack, yak. Okay? So the kaf here, this is a kaf, final kaf here. It looks like a stretched out dalet, but it's a kaf, and because it's at the end, it's a final form of kaf. Nakeh, that is to strike, okay, nakeh. Nahon is to be firm, to say yes. In fact, it's part of modern Hebrew. Yeah, that's right. Nahon, to be firm. And ken is to, yes, it's true. Okay, yes, it is so. So ken. And both of these also used even in modern Hebrew as affirmations. Nahon or ken. I have a friend whose name is Ken, and I say, oh, yeah, here's name a whole lot when I'm in Israel. Ken. Lamed, lamad, okay, that's an ox gourd, okay. You take this lamed right here, and the original form of it was something you would use to poke animals, so that was the lamed. And it's used once or twice in the scriptures as an ox goad, as a goad. Malmad, okay, malmad is something that's used for poking something. Also, unfortunately, although this concept of education they had, you want to get somebody to learn something, you poke them along, okay? Either with, I guess in ancient times with a stick, modern times you do it with grades or something, or scholarships or whatever. But limad is to teach, taught, okay? Limad. And lamed also can use as a preposition of purpose. And this one here, it is used a whole lot for preposition of purpose. And whenever you have a preposition purpose in front of a verb, it's going to be an infinitive in order to teach. Le lamed, okay, in order to teach. Lan is to stay the night. Also lin, you'll have it, lan, just with the comments, you'll have it, lamed. Yod nun, lin, and the nighttime is laila, a double lamed, and lan, lin, laila. Lech is to walk. Take a walk, hike. This is the imperative. Then lech, get going. And the Lord said that to Abraham in Genesis 12. Lech lecha. And here you'll see the full root, halach, he lamed kaf. But you're going to see the reduced root as lamed kaf a whole lot more than the full root. Full root certainly does exist. It's there. That's why they can use it to set up the dictionary. But you're going to see a whole lot of apheresis in progress. Either in the imperatives, you're going to have nothing in front, nothing on the back. In other verbs, you're going to have things agglutinated to the front or to the back. So this one is highly agglutinated often in verbs. It is a verb. Mayim, waters, plural, always in the plural. If you left it in the singular, you'd have the preposition from. Me, or comparative preposition, compared to mayim, mem, mayim, waters. And then you have me lamed, we had lamed in the previous one, and this is to teach, me lamed. The mem here is used, as we see it here, medebarim, as a way of introducing a participle. Participles quite often morphed into nouns, okay? So and as we have the meorot here, lights, moadim, the seasons, memenu, from us, or from him. This is a comparative or derived in mem here, and so we see a lot of use of the mem here. You have medebarim, meorot, the lights. See the lights of Genesis 1. That's the sun, moon, and stars. And then modaim, the seasons, the menu, and compared to us or compared to him, or from us. Na, nun, that is please. This is a rogative. When the people were saying Hosanna, they were saying save us, please. Hine na, this is behold, please. Okay, so na can be used as a rogative. Please do it. We'd like that, please. It was originally, as you can see it from the final form here, originally a serpent, a snake, head of a snake, and then the body curving along a little bit here. And then this is the closed form here, or the median form of the nun. And you have hine, na, behold, please. Okay? Nahash is the snake. It's also used for copper. Nahash, Nehushtan was the copper snake. Nilka, na, let's take a walk. You'll have the Lamed Kaf of halach, and then you have a hortatory here with the na. Okay, let's take a walk, please. This is the first person common prefixed here. Let's take a walk. Sion, this is Zion, of course, and final nun here, just an example how the final nun appears in a word. So Sion, okay, Sion, the citadel of Jerusalem. Samek. Samek is to, he placed, okay, he will place his hand on an animal when they're doing a sacrifice. This originally was the shape of a scaffolding when in its Proto-Sinaitic form of the letter, and so you have Samek. Sof is the end. When we see the very last pointing of the Masoretic text of verse, it's Sof Pasuk, okay, the end. Sof is also the reed sea, okay, so same roots here. Sof. Sus, that's a horse. Exists as a plural also. Susim, even I think is a feminine susot. So sus. Nisa is the test, and I have this one in because the Samek will reduce sometimes all the way down to Samek, okay? This one's Nasa, to test, and Nasna, to test, please, okay? Take a good look at her. Test this, please. Samek here. Yoshef is Joseph. The word to add on is Asaph, and so the Samek Pe is to add on to something. That's why Joseph had his name. He was added on to the last. He was one of the last ones born. And so, yeah, Benjamin came after him, but Yosef had been added towards the end. Asaph is the name of the family that had were choir directors, also assembled songs, assembled choirs. So Asaph. You'll see the same kind of assembling thing going with Yosef and Asaph. Samek Pe. Ayin. Original form of the Ayin letter was an I, okay, Ayin. And so behold the eye of God, Hine Ayin Yehovah. If you're going to look for singular form, you have to be looking towards Jehovah. For people and all eyes, it's going to be plural, Anayim, okay? Actually a dual, okay? Anayim. And it's used a lot in names, Ein Shemesh, Ein Rochel, Ein Dor, because it's the eye of a well, an eye for water. In other words, water is bubbling out. Looks like a person's eye. Okay, so Ein Shemesh, eye of the sun. Ein Rochel, eye of the foot. Okay, Ein Dor, the eye of the generation. And Azah, I have Azah in here because this ayin, sometimes, especially in foreign words like Azah, Gaza, and Gomorrah, Rachel, this ayin will work as a gayin. This incidentally is very much a process that works in the Arabic. So we see it over there. We'll see it sometimes, not all the time. We'll see it once in a while, a great while, in Hebrew. And there it is, Gasa. Okay, Asa, Gasa. The official way to pronounce this is going to be Asa. Sometimes when I hear Hebrew speakers in Israel, they're going to be calling Asa. But if you know where it came from, it's Gasa. So, okay, Gasa. And the Gayin. The Pe is the mouth. Okay, Pe. Often, if it's standing by itself like this, it's not going to have a dagesh, so it's going to be pronounced with the F. If you have a dagesh, it's going to be a P. If no dagesh, it's going to be an F. Okay. And then it's Af, okay, the face. In other words, you see the letter here, that's the face of the letter. Pen, and this is lest, or turn that face around, turn it 90 degrees or turn 180 degrees, make something turn around. Po is here, okay, and this one will appear with both hey and with aleph. In other words, the hey and the aleph are often interchangeable. So it's paired. And this happens not just in this one, it happens in a lot of them. So na and po, the hey and the aleph are interchangeable. So it means here, okay, po, even in modern Hebrew. Penuel, face of God. And peninim, pearls or rubies, anything that's round with a nice face on it, with value. The virtuous woman of Proverbs 31 she's worth far more than peninim, than pearls or rubies. So translators there have to have a choice. Most of them choose rubies, but peninim, pearls are also possible. It just means simply jewelry with a nice face on it. Sadik is the hip or the side, shad. And shad, even when Boaz was sitting by his pile of grain, he was sitting to the shad, he's sitting to the side of it. Okay? A tzedek is the just. Okay, this is one of the roots of tzedek. Have a median form of it and final form of it. The final form is this one. And so tzedek is just. Tzedekim, just ones. Shiva, he orders. The bar mitzvah is based on this particular root here. The son of the orders or the commandments, and so Shiva, okay, Shiva, he orders. Sor is tire, and we here you have this is a TS sound, okay? So most of the time it's taken as an S, but there are a few times that it will translate over and used as a T, okay? This is Tzor, tire is one of them here, okay? Tzor, tire. And Sidon, that is then the Sidon, of course, up on the Beirut course, the Phoenician coast. There's a city up there along the Mediterranean shore. Malik Sadiq, king of righteousness, justice here. Malik, king of righteousness, king of Salem. Very beautiful name. One of my co-pastors is named this, Melchizedek. And Malik Sadiq, king of righteousness, Sadiq. Kof is a Q, and Kaf, this is then the chord, and then originally was the chord with the knot on top, and then Kaveh is to wait or hope. It appears a few times as a chord, and it goes into things like mikveh or tikvah, where the chord's still part of the root, but it's also used very much as a verb, to wait or to hope or to hang on to, okay? Kavoah, kavo, kavo. Many of the Bible programs, the apps, will take this letter right here and consider it a surik. No, it's actually Dagesh Forte, and so you just look at the doubling of the vav, or the doubling of the vav, kavo. Okay, it isn't kauo, kauo. No, it's kavo. Okay, kavo. Keep it simple. You can't push a diphthong into the middle of this thing like this. Okay, yikvu, yikavu. Okay, here this vav will be a consonant. This one will be a vowel. We're going to get a little bit into more of when the vav is working as a consonant, when it's working as a vowel. Here, this first time out here, it's working as a consonant. Second time out, it's working as a vowel. Yikavu, and they gathered. Mikveh, and this is mikveh. Incidentally, I told you that hey and aleph sometimes will be interchangeable, and this is one of those cases. Gathering place for waters. Mikveh, mikveh is even today is a description of a ceremonial bath. So that's what they're called. Mikveh, gathering of the waters. Tikav, tikva. This is hope, something you're hanging on to. The kof here is the rope that's a symbol of hanging on to something very firm, with a nice knot, strong knot on the top. Okay, tikva, hope. Rosh, the head. This is the resh. We call it resh because we're using actually Aramaic when we're giving the titles to our Hebrew letters, and it's called resh in Aramaic. In Hebrew, it's called rosh. Okay? Rosh, okay? Rosh, the head. Arur is to be accursed. Okay, Arur, He will curse. And then Auror, this is when the Lord is cursing those who aren't blessing you. And I will curse. Auror, this is then Aleph Resh, and then Aleph Resh. This one is the root, Auror, and then the Aleph is the prefix form of the first person pronoun here. I will curse, or I am cursing. Arum, crafty. The serpent was the most crafty ones of the animals of the field. Arum, torem. This is you will teach. Now, this is based on the root of Yod, Resh, He. And as I said, also there's a parallel with Yod, Resh, Aleph, to teach, okay? He teaches. And both of these are capable of being lost via a pheticist in the front and apocrypha at the end. And you just write down to the base Resh. And here it is, the Resh right here. And you don't see any Yod, you don't see any He, you don't see any Yod, you don't see Aleph. You do see To, Re, you teach. And this is the verbal form of Torah. Okay? Torah is actually the law, something that has to be taught. Okay? It isn't just simply a codified set of rules and regulations. It is something that is being taught. It is the process of being taught. Torah is a very dynamic sense of something that has to be taught constantly. So taught and understood constantly as well. So it isn't just simply codification. It isn't simply a long list of things, yes and no's and do's and don'ts. It is something that becomes internalized in a person and really develops the heart of the person based on the will of God. So Torem, you teach. And the Resh is the only one that survived of the original roots of your dictionary. It's very obvious that in the original development of the language, they just built up from the Resh. They didn't. They weren't thinking about these other letters when it was all coming together. So, Torem, you teach. Rav Hovel, this is the master of the knots, the captain of the ship. When Jonah boards his ship to leave for Tarshish, he's dealing with the Rav Hovel, the master of the knots. Ramot, Gilead, the heights of Gilead. Gil also means top or Gal. Heights of the Galad. Heights. It's a city that's in the Transjordan. You have Habesh Galad. You have Ramot Galad. Ramot Galad is up in the higher ground. It's you can visit it today. I remember visiting once, and it's quite an interesting place. So Ramot Galad. Shin, Sin, Shin, when it's a Sh, as the Masoretes will point it on the right. Sin, with a simple S, will point it on the left. This one's very much similar in sound to Samic. This one's the aspirated S, Sh, okay? Sh. Shin and Sin. On the right, aspirate on the left, no, keep it simple. Shen, that's a tooth, okay? And you can see the shape of the teeth sticking down here. Shen, Sham is over there. Sham, Shesham, because it's there, because over there. And this is a morphological use of the She. Okay, we see this in She Yored. We see it in certain forms, quite often in the somewhat later Hebrew, and it's a shorter form of Asher. Okay, so it either began as a She and then expanded into Asher, or Asher was reduced to She. But it's very much, when you see this, is like the Asher. This is the Aleph, Shin, Resh, Asher, She, Sham, okay, because it's there. Shimna, place it, please. Shim, Shem, to place. And when you're there and you want something there, you place it. So Sham, this is then Shimna, to place, please. Hashemayim, those are the places that are up there, plural. The ones, the out there's, okay, Hashemayim. Dual, because yeah, we always think of heavenly earth, earthier. It's a dual, Shemaim. Shechem, okay, this is the city where Abraham first arrived when he got to the promised land. He got to Shechem. Shechem. Last letter in the alphabet, Hebrew alphabet, is the Tau. Okay, has a dagesh sometimes, so this is without the dagesh. The tendency of this one is when you don't have a dagesh, it's more of a th, and when you do have a dagesh, it's going to be more punch to it, okay? T and th. Okay, th, t. Often trying to separate it out in Nathan. Okay, we do see a th here with just with no dagesh, of course, and then it goes on to Nathan. Even the verb keeps it that way. But when you got dagesh, it's going to be a little stronger. Tok. It starts out as a mark, okay, because it originally was just a simple little cross mark. Okay, tav, the mark. Find this word in Ezekiel, and it's Ezekiel tells people to go through the city and mark people on the forehead. Put a tav on the forehead. But by tav, and he marked. This is David when he was with Achish, and he wanted to look crazy. He went out marking the doorway, marking the gateway of the city. So Vatav. Okay. Tok is in the middle. Betok in the middle. This is has preposition in front of it. It appears as tok, but betok is far more popular. Betok in the middle of. Natan he gives. Nathan, that's then the prophet then who the Lord had given. Okay, Nathan, a symbol of the Lord giving us something. So Nathan, Natan. Latet, in order to give. I've got this one in here because the root here, natan, to give, nun tau nun, is the original root. If you look it up in the dictionary, to give, this is what you'll find, nun tau nun. You still have to give here. There's no nun on the front, there's no nun on the back. You have a lamed on the front, which is preposition of purpose. You have a tet, which is in the middle, the tau, which is in the middle, which is the root. And then you have a tau at the end, which happens to be construct infinitive. So it's built up, it's glutenated. It starts out with a simple tau. And that's how it was originally built, off of simply the first letter tau. Later on when dictionaries were prepared, they always wanted to have 3 letters to stick into the dictionary, and the 3 letters they picked for it was nun tau nun. That's fine. That's the third person masculine form of this verb. But when you get into the infinitive forms and when you get into the reduced forms, then just simply the tau, to give. So here's the alphabet. When we go through it, we'll start with the very simple roots of our words, and of course from there it builds out into many words that we can look at. When we're studying Hebrew, look to the root of the root, okay? In other words, pick the center letter and pick the center of the center, okay? Pick the center of where you start. That's the one that carries the root meaning of the word, and then from there on, you're going to be agglutinating things like person, time, not time, but person and gender and connections and so forth. So we're going to get into that in quite a bit more detail. But when we start out with the very simplest median, the very simplest middle parts of the letters that we're looking at, and we build out from there. That's how the Hebrew language was formed, and that's a tool for us then to study it. So may God's word illuminate your path and certainly be something that guides you in Christian living. So God bless you and God keep you in this day.